Are you a new trainer who is actually able to land a client? Do you have no idea what to fucking do to train them? Stay tuned for the workout that every new client needs and what you need to do to keep them training forever. The workout that every new client needs. Now let's just take in this picture here from PowerPoint. We've got a early 2000s, late 1990s YMCA, it looks like. The black people have black shoes, this guy here, that girl here. The white people have really white shoes, white people plus whatever this guy is. And these shoes look exactly the same. This is not the workout we're going to give your new clients, but it's not that far away because we are going to do a circuit-based, which is going to be a little bit different than probably what the norm is. And I want to go over why that's important and why you should start to incorporate that with your new clientele. So let's go over, what are we trying to get from new clients in terms of information? What do we need to know from them? What do we need to know to be able to train them in the best way? You know, you start off with a consultation and a free session with somebody, and you get to learn some things. You get to learn their exercise history. You get to learn what they've been doing, what their injury history is, if they're having any pain, all that stuff. You don't really have a good sense of what kind of person this person is yet, what kind of worker they are in the gym, what do they like in the gym, what do they not like in the gym. So what I like to do with the first couple weeks of training or the first cycle or two is try to get a feel for this person and try to gather information as we go. What is their current fitness level? Cardio and strength. So this is going to be a big deal. If somebody is in poor cardiovascular shape, they will not enjoy lifting weights. Or they won't enjoy doing cardio, obviously. But even lifting weights is going to be challenging for them at the beginning. There is a cardio effect. You do need to have some cardiovascular fitness to do that. And it's a good idea to gauge this right away to see where you need to put in more work and where you can have kind of the lowest hanging fruit to make some improvements with this person. How hard are they willing to work? This is another thing that you're not going to get from the consultation necessarily. A lot of people say things in the consultation and then get them out on the gym floor and it's a completely different story. You need to know how you can push this person. You need to know if this is somebody you need to push or if you need somebody, this is somebody you need to reel back in. And this is a really important distinction because it's going to affect the way you coach different people. What kind of motivation or encouragement do they want or do they need? Do people actually like to be motivated? Some people don't. I have a client who told me the first time I trained him, he said, I had a trainer who yelled at me, he said, hey, let's go one more rep. If you do that, I'm going to fucking fire you. Cool. I don't do that to him. Okay. He doesn't need it. Some people do. Some people need a little bit of encouragement to get through another rep or two. That's fine. But you're going to have to take some time to figure out what this person is and what they enjoy. And that just goes back to being pushed and being reeled back in. There are clients, and I have a couple of these, that they need to be reeled back in. They're always wanting to do too much. This is what you'll find out from this first few weeks and from setting up the training sequence that we're going to talk about. All right. So this is what I like to start people with. And I'm going to give a hat tip to Pat Davidson because I borrowed a little bit of this from him. He talks about when he was training people, one of the first things he would do is put them through a similar type circuit. And I borrowed that concept from him. So shout out to Pat. I call it the 15-15 circuit. It's a very simple circuit. 15 reps of each exercise for 15 minutes total. So you put 15 minutes on the clock, 15 reps per exercise, and you go through the sequence as many times as you can. So how many rounds can you get through this is going to be the gauge of progress. Most people, depending on how many exercises you do, are going to get through this 2 to 3 times, probably not more than 4. But at the beginning, they might only be able to get through it 2 times based on how much rest they need to take. There's no built-in rest periods. You rest as needed. If you don't rest at all, you can get through it 4 times. If you have to rest a lot, you might only get through it once or twice. So that's going to be the gauge of progress. So we're going to repeat this over the course of a training cycle, 5-6 weeks, whatever it is, and see how this person is progressing. The circuit is very, very simple to set up. We've got 5 different exercises. We want a squat, an upper body push, a hinge, an upper body pull. So the main movement patterns there. And then 1 cardio exercise at the end based on whatever your gym has to get this person's heart pumping a little bit as they go through the cycle, because we're really going to test their cardiovascular endurance. A really quick example of what I would do here, the squat, we're going to use a goblet squat, upper body push, you could do an incline bench press, hinge, kettlebell deadlift, upper body pull, a chest supported row with dumbbells, and then the cardio, I really like to use the stair climber because we have one in our gym. But if you don't have that, ski erg, air bike, doesn't matter, get their heart pumping. What I like about this is you can do this all with dumbbells in one specific area. So you can do this little circuit in one area. If you've ever been to a big box gym, Taking up 5 different machines at once at 7 a.m. is not a great idea. So if you can do this in a designated area with dumbbells, it's great. And this just makes it easier to set up for this client week over week. So what should you expect from this type of workout with people? Well, it's going to gas a lot of people at the beginning. I've got guys I've trained that are, maybe middle-aged guys. They've never done 15 reps in their fucking life. And that's kind of sad, but true. So if you're, doing 5 exercises at 15 reps each, just that alone is going to gas some people. Throw in the cardio device at the end, skier, grower, whatever it is. If they've never done that before, they're going to be gassed. And that is the point. We want to see how they react when they become tired. If their form degrades, do they start to rush through everything? Do they get demoralized? That's something you want to look for. You want to see how this person reacts to this type of stress. We don't want it to be so hard that they can't really talk to you. So this is another information gathering session. It's very similar to the consultation. You want to be able to kind of have a conversation that's ongoing with this person. You're not going to be able to go through fucking War and Peace with them because they will be huffing and puffing a little bit, but just gentle conversation is good. And that's just another way you're going to get to know this client over the first couple of weeks. Again, watch the form breaking down and see which exercises gas them the most. Really stereotypically, lower body exercises are going to gas the guys. Upper body exercises are going to gas the ladies. Kind of true across the board. I mean, most women are going to have a harder time with incline dumbbell bench press than they are with goblet squats. But just check to see where you need to make improvements, because this is just, again, you're gathering information throughout this process. That is the whole point. What really matters for this circuit? What are we really looking to achieve, and what information are we looking to gather? Well, for me, it's what kind of person is this? How do they respond to challenges? Is this person a former athlete? Do they like having a clock put on them? That's a really big distinction. When you put the 15 minutes on the clock and you give them a goal, how do they react? Do they shrink to it? Do they rise to it? Do you get more effort out of them? Do you get less effort out of them? Most people are going to give you a better effort when you put the clock on, but not all. That's a really important distinction. Some people, when you put the clock on, they don't like it. Makes them feel nervous. They kind of shrink from it. That's fine. Not everybody has to be a fucking gangbuster. You can tailor this to whatever your client's needs are. But just know, having somebody on a clock and giving them a goal, you will get a better performance out of most of them, but you have to go individual by individual. Another really important thing is, how do they react to improvement over time? Because this is going to be your biggest selling point as a trainer is, we're not going to come in and do different things every single session just to keep it, quote, fun and interesting. But what we are going to do is we're going to improve. And I'm going to log the sessions. I'm going to log the weights. I'm going to log the sets and the reps. And I'm going to show you week over week, you are getting better. How do they react to that? Most people love it. And most people get addicted to that, because a lot of times that's not how they were exercising before. They were coming in, putting their thumb up their butt and just doing random shit all the time. They didn't see improvement. That's why they stalled. That's why they needed a trainer. This is a really important tool for you. If you can show improvement over time, you will keep clients for the long term. This is training. This is the training process. Again, they've probably never done this. They've looked up an exercise or a workout on Instagram. They've done it. They did it today. They maybe did it the next day, and then they never did it again. That's not training. That's exercising. You're a trainer. You're not an exerciser. You're trying to get these people to buy into the training process. This is a really great way to do it, because it's a little bit lower stress. The stakes aren't super high, but you're going to show improvement week over week, and that's going to drive some buy-in for you. So how do you use this, and how do I use it with clients? I love doing it with clients in their first training cycle. So we do the consultation, we have the first kind of trial workout, and then first 4 or 5 weeks when they're in here, we're getting on the 15-15 circuit. Now, I just don't do this circuit on its own for the hour-long session. What I'll do is we'll start with some straight sets of exercises. Maybe I think they need work on one of the core foundational movements, squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull up, push up, whatever it is. Start with some of those longer rest periods. We're easing them into the workout, and then introduce the 15-15 circuit after those foundational movements. Again, it's only going to take about 15 minutes. It's not going to take, a third of the session, or basically a third of the session. And then afterwards, you can do some accessory work and a little bit of a cool down before you end the session, but use it second. Don't throw it at them right away. This is a diagnostic tool. Again, we're gathering information. What kind of person is this? How do they like to be trained? How do they respond to challenges? What do you need to do as a coach to get the best out of them? They will learn to love training as long as you show them progress. That means you've got to be diligent, writing down weights and sets and reps and exercises, and not just doing random shit all the time. If you do that, they will buy in. And I like to revisit this every now and then. This, again, one of the biggest things you'll see is, what is this person's cardiovascular fitness? If you feel like you need to revisit this after 6 months or 8 months or whatever it is to see where they're at cardio-wise, do it. It's absolutely fine. I think trainers are a little bit reticent to bring up, cardio-based sort of circuit modalities, but there's no reason not to include them. It's lifting weights, so you're getting some muscle building benefit as well, but you're also getting a cardio benefit. All right, that is the 15-15 circuit. This is Coach Brian with the Personal Trainer Playbook. For more information, click below. 30 tips in 30 days. Click subscribe. See you next time.